I'm Ananya Datta and you're watching Race to Power, a show where we will take you through the streets of demands, corridors of politics and finally the room of voting. Here's what we have lined up for you. A healthcare policy from more than 10 years ago is back on the table. Republican poster boy Donald J. Trump is busy looking for alternatives to Obamacare. And this has given Joe Biden another reason to count his chickens. An election season can bring new surprises, but in Netherlands, the surprises just do not end. First, a far-right leader shocked Europe by winning the most seats. Then his coalition dream had the worst start, and now he has reached out to a person from another political party for help. A lot is happening in Netherlands. Stay tuned. Let's now go across to India's Uttarakhand, where a massive rescue operation is underway as we speak of the Uttarkashi tunnel collapse. Now, for our viewers, about 41 workers were trapped in Uttarakhand's Silkyari tunnel since November 12th. It's been 17 long days and we have been getting you live visuals throughout the day, and we have been getting you the rescue shots, and as of now we can tell you that the rescuers have cleared the final few meters of the debris using the rat hole mining technique, and the work of laying pipes in the tunnel have also concluded. The rescue operation is underway as we speak. Just for a little background, on November 12th, a section of the tunnel between 205 and 260 meters from the Silkyara side had collapsed. Workers who were beyond the 260-meter mark were trapped instantly with all the exits blocked. Just minutes before, we were told by the Uttarakhand Chief Minister that the preparations have started to evacuate the workers, and as of now, for those of you who are just joining in, we can confirm that the rescue operation has finally started after 17 long days. It is also important to understand that the Indian Air Force had deployed the twin-rotor heavy-lift Chinook helicopter on standby at an airstrip near Uttarakhand, where an emergency medical center has been set up to treat all the 41 workers trapped inside the tunnel. Now, for more on this latest development, we are being joined by our correspondent Idris Lone. Idris, what is the latest you have for us at the moment? We are being told that the rescue operation has begun.
Well, absolutely. Finally, a great news coming in from the rescue site. The reports are suggesting that 2 people have been taken out so far. The rescue operation is slow, but they're taking it forward. 2 people already being rescued, according to reports. It will take a lot of time to take all of them out. It can take a couple of hours or more because the pipes that have been put in place to get them out from the operation site is narrow and will take a lot of time, especially since the number is 41. But it's a great news. The whole India, I think more than 1 billion people have been praying for these workers from the last 17 days, and finally good news coming in from the operation side that the workers who were stuck for the last 17 days are being slowly taken out from the site. We're also getting reports that all of them are healthy. All the officials have confirmed to us that all of them are in perfect condition, although there are ambulances waiting right outside the rescue site, where they will be taken to a local hospital where doctors will examine all of them before sending them to their loved ones. This operation did take a lot of time, but it did pay off. It did collapse at many occasions, and at times people did lose hope, but finally taking it slow was actually the real option to get them all out, and one by one they managed to take 2 out so far, and one by one within a couple of hours or more all of them will be out.
All right, Idris. For those of you who are just joining in, we'll just quickly wrap up for you that we can confirm at the moment that the rescue operation in Uttarkashi, India has begun. And of course, this comes after 400 hours of operations that have been going on throughout the day. And as my correspondent Reese also said, this is a major breakthrough and a major respite for the families and friends of the people who have been trapped, to be specific, 41 workers. Idris, just moments back, we were told by one of the members of the NDMA that there will be a window of about 5 minutes to rescue each of the workers, which is why the entire operation might last for about 3 to 4 hours. Is there anything you could tell us about on that front?
Well, absolutely. The pipes that have been put in can only manage to take one person out at a time. They've been put on a stretcher from one corner by the NDRF teams and Indian Army teams, and then they have been pulled out from the other corner. So there are 41 people in total, and if we convert it into 5 minutes each, it will take around a couple of hours to get them all out. But the good news is that the first two workers, according to reports, have been rescued successfully, have been taken out, which means the whole rescue operation has worked. It might take a little more time. It might take them a couple of hours or more, but one by one, they're not taking any risks. They want the operation to be slow, but they're making sure that all the workers who are stuck there are safely evacuated from that operation site.
Absolutely, that is the priority. Now, we have been hearing a lot about the rat hole mining technique, which was employed after the drilling machines, of course, failed. If you could tell our viewers in simple terms what exactly this technique is.
Well, absolutely. They've been using extremely new technology and machines from the day one. But since it's a tunnel and there was a lot of steel and there was a lot of iron that was used, when the girdling machines were working, they basically were cutting through not only the mud, but also the steel and the iron. And that was one of the major difficulties. For the last 16 days, we saw that they were managing with the technology that was being used by these drillers, by these miners who had not only come from India, but across the world. But yesterday, the government decided that the rat hole mining is the option to specially cover the 2-meter distance that was left. That is the only distance left to reach out to these 41 workers. And since yesterday, 6 rat hole miners were brought in from Delhi and Jhansi to enter the tunnels and dig manually. Basically, what they do is dig manually a small hole. And since it was not a long distance, it did take them a few hours, but finally they managed these 2 meters by using the rat hole mining technique.
All right, Idris, stay with me. We are being told that we have a bite from the worker coming in from the Uttarkashi region from Ground Zero. Let's go to it.
एक ही है अभी एक आ गया नहीं कोई चल रहा चंद्रन
All right, those are some live shots coming in from the Ground Zero, and as of now we are getting reports that about 5 workers have been pulled out from the tunnel. This is part of the total 41 workers who have been trapped inside the tunnel in Uttarakhand, and we can confirm at the moment the rescue operation is going as planned. And Idris, if you can hear me right now, what is the protocol that is going to be followed once all of the workers are managed to be rescued?
Well, absolutely. The news that's coming in from our report suggests that 5 workers still now have been taken out. It's taking them 5 minutes each to get each worker out from the trapped site. After that, what we're being told is that there are many, there is a barrage of ambulances waiting right outside the operation site. All these people, all the workers would be first taken to the local hospital there. There would be a medical checkup done, and then only they would be shifted and allowed to go to their loved ones and or to their houses. That is what we have been told. The government has also clarified that all of them look healthy. All of them, because they have been communicating with all of them since the last 17 days. And whoever was had any issue, their medicine was provided to them. The good thing was that they were provided with the food, water, oxygen, as well as medicines from the last 17 days. And that is the saving grace that these workers managed to basically stay calm in that tunnel. But living or getting trapped in a tunnel for 17 days is not a joke. So I'm sure some of them would need or would seek some help with regard to the mental trauma that they've gone in the last 2 weeks, over 2 weeks actually. So the first protocol would be taking them to the hospital, and later on they'll be allowed to meet their loved ones.
Absolutely, Idris. And as you said, 17 days inside the tunnel with no sunlight is absolutely no joke, and we can't wait to hear from the workers, the first reactions from them. Idris, stay with me. We are also being joined by Professor S. Dubey. He is a geologist. Mr. Dubey, the rescue operation is underway as we speak after 17 long days. All right, we are having some technical issues reaching Mr. Dubey. Idris, if you could just quickly come in. As we just said, that we are getting reports that about 5 of the workers have been rescued as of now, and the Uttarakhand Chief Minister had also confirmed this for us. So if you could just quickly come in and explain to our viewers, over the past 17 days, what has happened in terms of the rescue operation and what led to today?
Well, absolutely. Let me give you the news that we are now being told that 7 workers have been taken out already in this rescue mission. All of them are safe, and one by one, all of them are being taken out. 7 so far while we speak. On the other side, if we talk about this operation, it was a Herculean task for these miners from the last 17 days. It was not easy because they laid the iron and metallic surrounding around the tunnel, and once the landslide happened, it's not easy to cut across the iron girdles that are put when the tunnels are made. So it was an extremely difficult Herculean task for the miners to do. And on top of that, the mud that you see there in that tunnel is extremely slippery. So whenever they were digging, there used to be a landslide, and that was one of the major issues they were facing. But thankfully, the rescue teams, not only from across India but across the world, were brought in by the government. Especially the state as well as the central government have been continuously keeping an eye on the situation. And that is one of the reasons that we've seen that they did not really fast-pace this, because they wanted to save each and everybody who was trapped inside the tunnel.
We are being told that we have reconnected with Mr. Dubey. Mr. Dubey, quickly come in. The rescue operation is underway. If you could tell us, what are some of your first reactions to this?
Reaction is great that the people are coming out and safe and sound, I think this is great. The only thing is that we were still finding it risky from the vertical drills. And I was thinking that, some mishap may happen. If it may happen from the vertical drilling. I think that has been now over, and now people are coming out from the real-time manual system that is more authentic and more viable, because machines and man, they are two different things, and man are always better than, machines. So this is it.
Professor Dubey, the fact is, we're now getting images, the very first images of the workers who are trapped inside of the tunnel. We see them out, and they are, on the face of it, looking to be in good physical condition. Therefore, the fears that people have that they may not be in good physical condition, good health condition, that does not appear to be the case. They appear to be in a relatively good health condition. And Ananya, this of course has been the big moment for the last 17 days. we've been tracking this story. Everyone had been hoping and praying. We were getting very close. We were talking last Friday that it was just a matter of hours that the workers would come out, that the drilling machine has to just, drill for just a little bit more, and then we would be there. But it has taken another 5 days more. And now we are here, and it's been such a difficult and arduous journey. Professor Dubey, if I can ask you this question, the fact is we've been talking about it, that we are very close, and it has taken us 17 long days. What was it about the landscape, that was being dug which made this rescue mission so complicated?
Look, the landscape, it looks like, when I saw it on the Google itself, it looks like a old landslide thing. And probably the debris which is there and the fragile rocks which are there had, when you dug up something below, a debris or a rock which is very fragile, is bound to, get down. And probably if you have some big boulders over there or big hard rocks are there, they are bound to be, unless you are very careful for the fractures and the faults and the joint planes in the rock. And you need to know the RMR and slope mass rating and rock mass rating of the things. Mm-hmm. Probably we have to take experience from that, and we have to do a self-audit ourselves and find out the problems and solve those problems.
Absolutely, indeed. And the authorities there have been constantly with the people who've been carrying out the rescue mission. We're getting these images where we can see Pushkar Singh Dhami, the Uttarakhand Chief Minister, and also VK Singh, the Union Minister there. And Ananya, this is what it is all, it all boils down to. It was not an easy operation. It was an extremely difficult and complicated operation. We were relying on these high-tech drilling machines, and even they failed. And at the end of the day, the people who actually came and did the rescue work were these rat mine workers, and it is they who in fact went the final few meters and managed to get through that conduit pipe through which these workers are being pulled out.
Absolutely, Saleh. And Mr. Dubey, bringing your expertise here, because of what we saw in the last...
There seems to be a bit of a connection issue with the guest there. And now that the workers are being brought out, Ananya, it's a matter of time, It's one hopes that everything goes off smoothly. The very first worker was pulled out, and since then there are reports that a total of 7 workers are being pulled out from the tunnel. And the manner in which it is being done is that there is a stretcher on which these workers are made to lie down on. It's a movable stretcher. It's got wheels underneath it. And then that stretcher is slowly pulled out via ropes by the rescue workers outside. It is not an easy operation, and it's also gotten fairly dark there. It's also fairly cold in the place where the rescue work is presently underway. And we expect this rescue work will continue for at least another hour. And we hope that every worker will, of course, be out pretty soon.
Absolutely. And once they are out, we are being told that a temporary medical facility has been set up inside the tunnel. And once all the 41 workers have been evacuated, a health checkup will be conducted at this facility. And the visuals that you're seeing on your screens right now are live visuals coming in from Uttarakhand. We have been told, we are getting reports that about 7 of them have been evacuated, and the rescue operation is underway to get the rest of the workers also being evacuated soon enough in the matter of the next 1 hour or 2. And we are also being told that in the event of any issues, the health department has arranged about 8 beds, and a team of doctors and experts has been deployed for immediate assistance. Saleh?
And this, of course, is the moment. Some of the family members there who have gathered in that location, they're giving sweets to the people who've been at the location for such a long period of time. Let's in fact listen into some of the stuff that's in fact being said there, because this, remember, has been the moment that people have been waiting for, had been praying for the last 17 days.
बिल्कुल लड्डू बांट के आज स्वागत हो रहा है, दिवाली मनाई जा रही है। हमारे 41 मजदूर भाई जो है आज सकुशल बाहर आए हैं बाबा भौकनाथ की कृपा से, और आज हम पुनः दिवाली मना रहे हैं उनकी खुशी में, जो है उनके बाहर आने की खुशी में। स्थानीय लोग हैं, मैं बड़कोट से हूँ, नगर पालिका बड़कोट से, और हम लोग जो है आज पुनः उनकी खुशी में जो आज दिवाली मना रहे हैं।
दिवाली वाले दिन से वो अंदर है, अब दिवाली भी मनेगी, छठ भी मनेगी।
बिल्कुल सब कुछ अब एक साथ मनेगा, बिल्कुल जो है सारा बिल्कुल पूरा मजा आ गया। 41 लोग हमारे सकुशल बाहर आ गए, इससे बड़ी जो है कोई खुशी नहीं है।
स्वागत की क्या कुछ तैयारियां आप लोगों ने करी हैं? खासकर
स्वागत की पूरी तैयारियां हैं, पटाखे फोड़े जाएंगे, मिठाइयाँ आपके सामने बंट रही है, अभी जो है हर जगह पटाखे फोड़े जाएंगे। बहुत बड़ी खुशी है।
बिल्कुल सर, एक बार हमारे साथ आइएगा। संतोष, तस्वीर दिखाइए यहाँ पर।
आचार्य जी थोड़ा भेज कर एक मिनट भेज कर।
All right, those are some of the first reactions we are getting live from Uttarakhand. And remember, some of the relatives of these workers who have been trapped for 17 long days have gathered around the tunnel for days now, anticipating for a major breakthrough. And officials were hard at work. We were expecting a breakthrough just 2 days back as well. We need to understand these are very technical operations that the NDRF and the NDMA have been taking up, and because of which we also need to understand that with a complex mission like this, success is not always guaranteed. But as we see on our visuals, of course, about 7 to 10 workers have been rescued as of now, and they seem to be optimistic for the rest of the workers as well.
It's a matter of time, Ananya, because this one hopes, things will of course go on very smoothly. This was a very complex operation, because remember, digging through the debris of a collapsed landslide is not the same as digging through a tunnel in a mountain, because constantly what is happening is there is the flow of the collapsed debris that is constantly shifting. So the more debris that you remove, there is more that comes in to fill up that space, and that is what was happening. And towards the end, there was this metal mesh rods that was part of the tunnel construction which had come in, which resulted in the drilling machine to in fact get damaged. And eventually it was the rat mine workers who used these simple implements, who managed to get in, and of course they managed to go in and finally managed to put in place the conduit that has been successful in getting these workers out. And this is the big moment. This is the moment that we've been waiting for, and this is what everyone had been praying for across the length and breadth of India. Because for the last 17 days, it was a difficult operation. Remember, as soon as the news came in that there was a tunnel collapse, a lot of people thought probably they may not survive. Because these are operations where things can go wrong, things hang by a thread, and you simply cannot predict what can happen. Even when these international experts were talking about it, they said we are close, but we can't promise anything. And this evening, It's been a culmination of all these efforts for the last 17 odd days, where the workers are now out, they're coming out, and it's not an easy task dragging these workers out, because most of them are exhausted. They've not had much movement, they've had no sunlight for the last 17 days, and they are tired. And the way in which they're being brought out is via a tube which is just 90 centimeters in its diameter. So imagine a stretcher with wheels that is being inserted via that conduit tube, and each worker then lays down on that, and one just hopes that the sand does not shift from underneath the tube, because that can again create a complication.
Absolutely.
One hopes that does not happen, and then they're slowly being dragged out. And according to experts there, they say that it takes about 5 minutes to bring out each individual worker. But I'm sure that process will quicken up as the rescue works will continue.
Absolutely. And speaking of the process, to give a sense of what's happening on the ground, white pipes have been pushed through the debris in the tunnel, and a team of National Disaster Response Force, that's also known as the NDRF, have been wearing oxygen kits, and they are crawling through the pipe carrying wheel-fitted stretchers, as Saleh also mentioned, with the rope and oxygen kits for the workers as well. So that narrow space with all of those equipments. And what's also important is that the doctors and paramedics are waiting outside with the wheel-fitted stretchers, after which they will check the vitals of the trapped workers. Idris, what is the latest you are hearing from Uttarakhand at the moment?
Well, what we're hearing right now is that 20 of the 41 workers have been successfully rescued, which means half of them have been taken out successfully. It seems that they're taking lesser than 5 minutes to take each person out, and within the next 10 to 15 minutes, I think all of them would be rescued successfully. The first thing that is being done with all the rescued workers is they're taken into these ambulances where their vitals are being checked, where the doctor's team is awaiting, and they're doing a medical checkup first of all, and then they are allowed to meet their loved ones. The process we thought might take a couple of hours, but it seems like in another 20 minutes all the trapped workers would be taken out. It took an extremely, it was an Herculean task for all the workers who had been, all the rescue teams who had been working from the last 17 days, day in and night. They've been working to get all of these workers out, and finally it has paid off. The whole country has been praying for these workers, and that has also paid off. We've seen half of them have finally been taken out, and it seems like a minute or two to take each one of them out, and all of them we are being told are healthy. But since they were in a tunnel for 17 days, I'm sure some of them must have gone through mental trauma, and that might be something that the government and the medical teams will be looking at.
Absolutely, Idris. Sorry, 17 days back when the disaster had struck, we were hearing from experts that the Uttarakhand tunnel is actually testimony that it's actually a reminder not to mess with the world's youngest mountains. What do you think about that?
That's of course true. When it comes to these kind of these kind of drilling activities, you never can be sure. Now, Himalayas, we've seen these mountains, we say they are as old as time. But Himalaya, in geological terms, are actually very young mountains. These are fold mountains. They've been around for about 70 million years. That doesn't make them very old. The Aravalis, for instance, in Rajasthan, they're about 300 million years old. These are still very young mountains. These are constantly shifting. They're constantly growing. They grow by a height of almost about an inch every single year. So if you can imagine the Himalayan mountains, we know that these are as ancient as human civilization can even conceive of, but in geological terms, these are very young mountains. And it is difficult. This drilling work that is being done, this is about balancing development with conservation of nature. And I'm sure in the coming years, the government and the experts will sit down, they'll put their heads together and they'll think about how to proceed from here. It's not an easy task because there is a balance that needs to be struck between, you can't say that we will not drill at all, we will not have tunnels at all, because that is needed.
Yeah.
At the same time, you'll also have to balance the ecological impact that the human activities in places like this has. So that's something that we will debate upon for many, many years to come, because this is something that we've witnessed in this incident and in many other incidents where there's been an increase in the number of landslides that have been witnessed, predominantly because of over-construction, predominantly because of these human activities that we're witnessing them. But tonight, this is about a success story. It's a success story that a lot of people, look, on the face of it, everyone was putting a brave face to it. They thought that, yes, we will, of course, get them out alive. But let me tell you, a lot of the experts who were hard at this work, not many of them were completely convinced in their hearts that this would end up as a success story, because the complications that just kept coming one after another. That was not an easy task. This is an operation that has gone on for 400 hours. Imagine the amount of time and work. And we're sitting here in the studio and we're talking about it, but there are people who've been there day after day, night after night, hour after hour, just digging through, hoping that they get an inch closer with every passing minute. And now they've done it. It was a distance of about 57 meters of debris. Constant. This is not hard rock that you're digging through. This is debris that is shifting. This is debris that has got a lot of iron mesh in it. And that's basically what we've been digging through. And now it's a success story.
Absolutely, Saleh. And now we're being joined by Major General V.K. Thata, who is a former senior consultant for the India's National Disaster Management Authority. Mr. Thata, welcome to the broadcast. We are getting the first few visuals that are coming in from Uttarakhand as the rescuers are pulled out after 17 long days. What is your first reaction?
I would like to firstly congratulate the entire team, all the agencies which have been involved in the disaster rescue in this entire episode spanning over 17 days. It is a massive effort done at the national level. All the agencies, whether they're the armed forces, the Air Force, the Army, all other agencies, NDRF, BRO, you name it. This was the whole of government approach for ensuring that the boys who are trapped inside are safely rescued. So my compliments to everyone to start with. And of course, congratulations to the workers who are trapped in. And God bless them all that they are going to be taken out absolutely hale and hearty. And they'll be able to meet their families after such a long period. So there could be a better news than this.
Now, General Thata, I spoke with you just a few hours back. At that time, it was still very speculative. We had news that, yes, we had managed to establish, a pipe conduit connecting on the either side of the tunnel. But still, there were some delays. And for the family members who had been waiting for the trapped workers to come out, this looked like another heartbreak of a moment, because we were closed last Friday. Last Friday, we were talking that, look, it's just a matter of hours and they should be out. But that did not happen. And even this afternoon, there was a bit of a hiccup of sorts where there was mixed messaging that was coming through. But this evening, the workers are out, and I'm pretty sure they'll be meeting with their family members very, very soon.
Yeah, absolutely. See, once we got the news in the evening that the rat diggers or the tunneling which was done by manual effort had taken the pipe through, but then the debris which was around the mouth was still coming down, and therefore they had to extend the pipe